X Y Jackson.
Welcome into the Sean and Sean podcast. We're back again, still kicking it, still doing it, giving our amateur or maybe even less than amateur opinions on mostly football. We'll have another wrestling pod coming, I swear to you, talking pay-per-views and stuff like that. We got a lot to say there. But today is football again. Sean, not to not introduce you, but here we go. I'm going to introduce you a little late today. Say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, and welcome back, football family. Thank you for letting us into your ears again for another week of pod. I'm glad to get to be your co-pilot on this magic carpet ride, so that's exciting. Welcome back. If you're new to us, you stumbled across us, hey, come on in, take your shoes off, sit down, take yourself at home for a while, enjoy. Welcome.
Keep your socks on. All right, anyway,
Yeah.
So this week...
I don't know you that well. Keep socks on for now.
So this week, we want to have a little fun. All right, so we're going to start out with some news going on here. So looks like we've got a little bit of, push for certain things. So my understanding is we talked about it. You said it before that the Bears should have went all in on a QB. And it sounds like they're trying to go in all in on a QB. It's just not the QB you thought they would. Apparently, the Bears are making a huge push to get Carson Wentz. How does that make you feel as a Packer fan?
As a Packer fan, that makes me feel really good, okay? After seeing Carson Wentz, that makes me feel good as a Packer fan, knowing that we're going to have 2 wins against the Bears this year. Now, for the Bears, is that wise? You really should be chasing Watson for as much as you can. I understand there's complications there, but I think the big holdup here is Carson Wentz prefers another destination instead of Chicago, and that's what sounds like the holdup in all of this, because Chicago doesn't want to bring in a quarterback, doesn't want to be there. He still has, 3 or 4 years left in his contract.
This is true.
It'd be a rocky relationship.
At the same time, the brass are there. Who's to say they'll be there the next year? Now, moving on from that one, we're also hearing that Carolina's making a push for who you believe the Bears should make a push for, which is Deshaun Watson. We know they have Teddy Bridgewater. This situation, if they can make it happen, sounds a little bit better to me, because I like what they have on offense. Deeming that Christian McCaffrey is healthy, they get to give a quarterback who is competent to Houston. Sorry, Teddy. I know your career is just, if that happens, man, I mean, it makes you just feel for Teddy Bridgewater, what he's gone through. But he still have a chance at starting gig, and I mean, they most likely get a top pick, or a couple top picks, and then Carolina would have a legit chance there. I mean, what do you think of this one? Actually, I think this was your pick, was it not?
A couple of weeks ago. Exactly, yeah. Carolina is one of the teams that I was thinking that Deshaun Watson should go to for he could be successful. Carolina was one of those teams that I thought should go all in for Deshaun Watson, and if they can package Teddy Bridgewater in a trade, that could help alleviate some of those cap penalties, because instead of releasing them, you'd be trading some of that, and that's going to have better cap implications for Carolina. Exactly. So it wouldn't hurt as much. You can flip them in a trade. Absolutely.
Now this third one's pure speculation and rumor, in my opinion. From what I'm hearing is the Colts have interest in Sam Darnold. Now, I know I've seen this put through in like a 3-way trade with Watson going to New York, but I've seen this straight up, the Colts getting Sam Darnold. And I think it would be a great place for him if he got there. They have an offensive line. Holy cow, what is that? They got actual weapons. Wow. What are those? They've got New York's got a defense, but they've got a head coach that can actually craft offensive plays to pass the line of scrimmage. What a concept. I mean, what do you think of this one?
At this point, Indianapolis has to be looking for anybody who can play quarterback, because unless they're trading up in the draft, they're not going to have much chance to land a quarterback in that first round, let alone that franchise quarterback. They got to be chasing anybody who's available out there. Sam Darnold's still 23, 24 years old. He's still got a lot of time left in him. There's still a lot of potential in there. Yeah, Frank Reich as the head coach in Indianapolis, that could be a good spot for a young quarterback to learn. Look what he did.
True.
Look what Reich did with Carson Wentz back in 17, right?
And I mean, I know Andrew Luck was, Andrew Luck, but he pretty much gave Andrew Luck his best NFL season.
You wouldn't even cost that much either. What's Sam Darnold going to fetch? You're not going to give up a first rounder for him. You're not going to give up the Matt Stafford package for him. Maybe a day 2 pick.
Now, let's back it up a little bit, because we were talking about Carolina going after Deshaun, and there's some news that came out. Kawan Short was released, frees up some cap money, so maybe that has to do with trying to make a push for Deshaun, or maybe possibly he's a casualty of a strange league year where the salary cap is lower. What do you think of this? We'll talk about on another episode where Kawan might end up, but this is going to be a weird year for defensive tackles, in particular for free agents. But you think that's what the Carolina Panthers are doing? Do you think they're freeing up, trying to make that big push?
I don't think it's going to be a weird year just for defensive tackle. I think a lot of franchises need to look at their roster and think, who can we release? Because right now, this past year's cap was $198 million. They're expecting to cut that back to $180. In a normal year, it would have been
in going up
$200. But now, I think you already have 12 teams who are over the cap already, including my Green Bay Packers, who need to do everything they can to shed that weight to get just under the cap by that league start year. So Carolina, with this move, estimated it puts them $20 million over the cap. Or I'm sorry, under the cap. Puts them $20 million under the cap. They actually got some room. They got some money to spend. I'm thinking it is to land someone like Watson. Yeah, start freeing up some space. Carolina might be looking at the roster and thinking, all right, who else? We start letting go.
All right. Now there's another guy out there, and I'm the one, because when it comes, we have our, our edge or defensive end series coming up for where we think certain people are going to land. And this guy is going to be on that list, considering he's already out there. I'm going to talk about J.J. Watt. That was the big news coming out. But the main reason I want to talk about J.J. Watt right now is, well, I understand that Green Bay is one place you may want him to go, but that's not why I'm bringing him up. We're going to talk about his destination later on. What I want to bring up is most people say, okay, well, he's played in a 3-4. He's played a 3-4 end his whole career, which I could be completely wrong. I believe that's 5 tech, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm not that deep into it. But my opinion is I don't think J.J. Watt is scheme specific. So just because people want to put him on Pittsburgh, just because people want to put him on Green Bay, just because people want to put him here, there, or otherwhere where there's a 3-4, I don't think you need to. For example, if another team decided they want to put him in a 4-3, to keep him in Texas, it's quite a possibility he can play that 3 technique, that under tackle position, rushing the passer from the defensive tackle position. I think J.J. Watt is very skilled, and I think he's got a lot left in the tank. What are your opinions on the scheme specific or not specific aspects of J.J. Watt, and maybe how much he has left?
When it comes to a player like J.J. Watt, you have to think he's played outside on the line. He's played the interior. He's even spent a little bit of time in linebacker. Like, there's a lot that J.J. Watt can do. He's one of those players who is not going to be limited by a scheme, by a 3-4, even a 4-3 if you're trying to do any type of hybrid model. He's one of those players who has the ability, he has the talent, he has the drive. He is going to be successful, I think, in anywhere he wants to land. I don't think scheme fit is really going to affect where he goes, because players, coaches, they become much more versatile, much more flexible over the years when it comes to teams. So it hasn't become that much big a deal. J.J. Watt, the guy is still talented.
Extremely.
He's got a great motor. I don't think you're going to run into any issue with this team. He's got a lot left. He doesn't have to be an every down player. You could have him come in as a situational pass rusher. You could have him just come in and be part of a rotation, which would be great for a team like Green Bay. Not throwing any names out there, but maybe you'd be a good fit there. You give him a little bit of a break to the existing defensive line. Could he line up on defensive end? Yeah. Could I see him playing defensive tackle a little bit? Yeah. Could I see him as outside linebacker, as edge rusher? Yeah. Just rotate him through all of those spots. I think he's going to wreck the game no matter where he is.
Yeah. On top of that, if you have young players who you feel good about but still need development, there's no better mentor than J.J. Watt. This is a guy who has no problem being unselfish and teaching the next upcoming people or players how to, be pros on and off the field.
Yeah, he's that veteran leadership, and I'm coming back to Green Bay on this, right? But you're thinking, when Green Bay signed Julius Peppers years ago, that was a similar signing. It's a veteran player who's been very productive, but
high character.
Didn't have as much gas in the tank as people gave him credit for. So Julius Peppers didn't have to come in. He didn't have to play every down, but those downs that he was playing, he made the impact. Jacob Watson did the same thing.
Right, just like DeMarcus Ware when he went to Denver, and that's actually the perfect situation there. You get a guy like Ware who had done it at such a high level for so long. People were thinking he was wearing down because of the injuries. People forget how many injuries Ware had. He goes to Denver. He doesn't have to be the guy exactly. He gets to teach Von Miller how to be a pro while reinvigorating himself, and he won a Super Bowl. I mean, I'm a Dallas guy. I love DeMarcus Ware. I'm happy he got his Super Bowl. Now,
he got his ring. Yeah.
Hey! I have no hatred to DeMarcus Ware. One of my favorite players who played for the Cowboys. Now, moving on. We're moving on to our segments. So this is our free agent segment here. And we're going to start with the potential free agent tight ends. We're going to, regardless if they're staying or not, or if we believe they should be staying, we're going to say where should they go if they are to leave. And with tight ends, we're going to start off with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, dynamic player, very dynamic player, has developed pretty well for the Chargers. Has had some injury issues, but last year he seemed to bounce back pretty well, and he had a really solid year with Justin Herbert, throwing them the ball. Obviously, I think we both agree he would be better suited to stay with the Chargers. But for my purposes, if he was to leave the Chargers and go to another team, A team I think that could possibly use some solid tight end help would be, I'd actually say, the Green Bay Packers. I think the Green Bay Packers would be a really nice destination for Hunter Henry if they had the cap. I don't know if they have the cap. I look at scheme fit. I look at what is needed, and I think Aaron Rodgers would just love to have a big-bodied weapon like that. He was throwing to guys this year in the tight end. Don't get me wrong, they came out well for him, but they're not that talent that Hunter Henry is. Yeah, I threw that out there for you.
Oh. Yeah, you did. But I don't see Green Bay going after Hunter Henry just because, they need to get under the cap to be done with.
True.
So they're shedding weight wherever they can with contracts. David Bakhtiari just restructured his contract, changing some of his roster bonus into a prorated signing bonus. You're taking that cap hit that would have been this year and are spreading it out over a couple of years. So it gives them some flexibility. If they're going to go after offensive help, I think they're going to go after a wide receiver. I think they have Robert Tonyan, who has earned Aaron Rodgers' trust, as we saw this past season. And they also have Jake Sternberger, who's been a little banged up, hasn't been able to produce for a full season. That's a pretty high draft pick when they got him. So I think they still have faith in those two guys. I don't see Henry, but a place where I could see Hunter Henry going is the team that you're predicting to go to the playoffs, rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. I can see him going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got a lot of money, and they need a lot of help around Trevor Lawrence. So they need to get him some weapons, and I think getting probably the youngest and best tight end that's going to be available. Tight end's always been a good safety valve for quarterback. Always been a good safety blanket for him. And I think what does Trevor Lawrence need to begin his rookie season? He needs himself a good tight end he can rely on, and I think that's Hunter Henry.
All right. So solid choices here, I think, for both of us. So the next one is Rob Gronkowski. And this is just a fun one. Rob's just, he came back to play with Tom Brady. But let's just say he wanted to play another year, and it wasn't with Tom Brady. I'm playing with another aging quarterback because I do think this quarterback's going to be back to play, and I think he'd be fun in this offense. Give him to Drew Brees, put him in New Orleans, just let Rob have some fun in the Big Easy down there, and just let's see some entertainment.
Isn't Drew Brees retiring? Was that the whole purpose of him restructuring his own contract so he could free up some money from New Orleans and not be that big of a cap hit for him? If it's not Tampa Bay, the team I would choose for Gronkowski is just retirement. It's not really a team. I'm afraid to mislead you in that way. It's not a team. If I could answer with retirement, I think he's going to retire. He's got no reason to go anywhere else and play with any other quarterback not named Thomas Brady. So, but if you're telling me you got to pick a team for him, oh man. Tight end needy teams that come to the top of my mind are including New England. I don't think he's going back to New England. And another one, if you had a veteran quarterback, could be Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger. They could use a little bit of help at tight ends. I see Gronkowski in the sun. I see him enjoying himself in Florida. So if they don't get Hunter Henry, maybe they go after Rob Gronkowski. I really think it's Tampa Bay for retirement. That's it.
Now for the next one, we got Gerald Everett. And here's the thing. I like Gerald Everett a lot. I think he's a very good tight end. I think he deserves his chance to get a starting gig. So I actually think he will move on. I don't think he'll be back with the Rams. And he'll try to find a place where he can be a featured guy in an offense. Featured from the tight end position, we'll say. We'll give one on what that is. And one place Oh, sorry, I had to stretch a bit. One place that I'd like to see if he could get a chance with, it's maybe for I know they have another tight end that they're building up, but maybe the Buffalo Bills, because they do have a late round guy there that it has looked pretty good, but I'm sorry for the life of me, his name has escaped me. He came from Ole Miss. I know him. He's very athletic, but I think Gerald Everett could be very good for Buffalo.
He could. He could fit into Buffalo. He would definitely get utilized better with Josh Allen than he was with Jared Goff. I think
very true.
He's a good tight end. I think people are missing how good of a tight end he is. I mean, not just because he had Jared Goff throwing to him, but because he wasn't utilized as well as he could have been. I think if we see a change in scenery, and it's going to be very likely because the Los Angeles Rams are already over the cap as it is, so I don't see them putting in the effort to re-signing him. I think they already have another tight end or two on the roster. Hard time seeing them re-signing him. He goes to a team that could utilize a tight end a little bit more. Maybe it is at Buffalo. Maybe he takes the pressure off Stephon Diggs. How much good can that do for their offense? But the team I have in mind is going to be the Carolina Panthers. Whether they stick to Teddy Bridgewater, whether they trade for Deshaun Watson, or they upgrade that quarterback position, I think putting Gerald Everett in Carolina to help take some of that pressure off Christian McCaffrey. You pick them those two, plus the wide receivers they already have on their roster, that can make a Teddy Bridgewater even better, or that could really, really go a long way for Deshaun Watson, rounding him with more weapons to use.
Carolina, actually, funny you mentioned them, is my destination for our next guy, Jonnu Smith. I think Jonnu Smith is a perfect type of player because he's not your traditional tight end. He's your move guy, and I think he's a perfect type of guy to be put into this offense. This offense that's not necessarily truly conventional for the Carolina Panthers, especially if they get a Deshaun Watson. Oh my god! You got DJ Moore, you got Robbie Anderson, and then you put Jonnu Smith in there. I mean, you can work some magic here. You know, watch out, Tom Brady. Where you got Jonnu going?
I think Gerald Everett would be a better fit for Carolina. I think Jonnu Smith is one of those players who, very similar. He didn't have a lot of chance and opportunity to show off his skill. Tennessee was a very run-based attack. They were playing that really dominant run game. They're kind of just 2,000 rushing yards. That shows you where their commitment is. So I don't think they had a lot of passes to go around to give Jonnu Smith a really fair chance to show everything that he's got. He put up pretty respectable numbers. 40-plus catches, 400-plus yards, ended up with 8 touchdowns, but he made it productive. I don't think he's going to be focal point, but if you could put him on a team like the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, you could put him there with DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe you have a pass-catching running back in there too. Think how dangerous the Arizona offense was.
True. And Arizona was my second choice. I don't know. I like the idea of building up those Panthers. All right, moving on to our offensive line part of this. So we got Trent Williams here. Now, this is very interesting. Trent Williams, because, had the issues with the Washington football team, and then he gets traded. And so it'd be interesting to see him leave after being traded. But let's say he left. There are plenty of teams that need tackles in this league. Which team you got Trent Williams going to?
Trent Williams, for him, I think it's going to be San Francisco. I think he's going to stay. I think he found himself in a good spot. But if we're playing the scenario where he's got to go somewhere else, if we're playing this game, then I think a team like the Los Angeles Chargers could really use a veteran presence on an offensive line to really be there to protect Justin Herbert. And I think Trent Williams would be a great guy for that. Not that far of a move, staying in California. A little bit down the block, right? But he's staying pretty close.
Right.
People are going to look at his age and say, well, he's 32. How much does he have left? He also held out a year with Washington. He didn't play for a year. And I think a couple of those seasons he was also injured, not on the field. So I don't think he has as much wear and tear as people think he does. But he's still got some good years left. I mean, we saw in San Francisco, he did well. Change of scenery, a better place where he gets treated much better by the organization. He performed well. I didn't want to put him on blast like that, but yeah. Maybe a little honesty here and there. Yeah.
Now with that, I don't. Well, again, I agree. He's staying in San Francisco, but I can see that one. My one actually, he'd be moving a little bit further than the Chargers, a little further than LA, but still staying in that West Coast area. I got the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, let's be honest. Like, how old is he? What's he? 33. I'd say he still has 2 more really good years and maybe another solid year left in him. You know, I mean, offensive linemen tend to stick around a little bit longer than most players. And this guy, let's be honest, this guy was stud. So let's not get anything twisted there. But I do think Kyler Murray needs to stop running for his life. Having a Trent Williams come in, solidify that side, help solidify at least that part of the line, could go a long way to helping Kyler Murray so he gets that extra little bit of time to get the ball to guys like DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk, or, you know, let's say the ageless wonder comes back.
Larry Fitzgerald, yes, I hope he comes back.
Now, moving on to our next guy, Russell Okung. Russell Okung, I believe, is in Seattle right now. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Carolina.
Oh, is he in Carolina? He's in Carolina. My bad. Was he in Seattle before Carolina? It was 2 years ago, right?
He's drafted by Seattle.
Yeah, that's... Oh, this is why I have you here. Like,
this is why we're amateurs, folks. This is why we're amateurs, okay?
I'm the amateur. He's the legitimate one. That's all I'm saying. So, where you got Russell Okung going outside of Carolina?
Outside of Carolina, I think what immediately comes to mind is last year, Marty Gurney traded Trey Turner for Russell Okung. I think it was the Chargers. It was the Chargers.
Yes.
They made us walk the Chargers. Putting the timeline together here, folks. We got our stuff together. Hopefully. Maybe. Possibly.
One of us does.
So, anyways, getting back on track. Marty Gurney was the general manager who had traded for him. I think if he becomes a free agent, where's Marty Gurney now? Washington. Ron Rivera's in Washington. It's like we're having a pseudo-Carolina Panther team in Washington. So I could easily see him going to Washington. I don't think he has a lot of good years left, but I hope he does, right? And here I am criticizing this guy for not having a lot of good years left based on what I see on TV, right? This isn't to discredit what he does, but I know he's had some health issues come up, and it may just be a short-term option at this point. I think he can still give some value to Washington, and I think Washington would get value out of him.
I actually am going to agree with you here. I'm not going to, I mean, honestly, it makes a lot of sense considering who's there, considering, You know, how the interest, the what got him where he was to begin with. And I mean, Washington's one of those teams that we know needs offensive line help, considering we spoke earlier about Trent Williams being in San Francisco. So it's one of those that would make a lot of sense. Moving on, though, we're going to move on to another one of those aging guys who we're wondering how much he has left, and that's Alejandro Villanueva. I think I said that right. Where you got the Steeler man going here?
Oh, Steeler man. You can't ignore this guy. He's 6'9", 320 pounds. Like, that's what you need on your blind side, right? That's what you need blocking you. Some guy that's nearly a 7-foot man trying to prevent defenders from coming through. It's like the guys like a basketball player at 6'9", you know, it weighs like 200 and some pounds, like 41 guys. So rock here. He's got some good years left in him. My initial thought is the Los Angeles Chargers, someone to be there as a veteran to really watch Justin Herbert's back. But if we're playing this scenario where Trent Williams leaves San Francisco and goes to Los Angeles, then I think maybe Villanueva. Where'd he go? Maybe he just takes Williams' place in San Francisco.
Just slide right in.
Oh, do-si-do, little musical chairs there, if you will.
Now, considering the type of player Villanueva is, team I got him going to will not make you happy. It definitely will make you very sad. I would have him go to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears' offensive tackles are, let's just say, less than stellar. Let's just say they might possibly be revolving doors. So it'd be great just to be able to plug a guy in there who you know is going to be reliable at least. And this guy's going to be more than reliable.
That's okay. In my mind, we have J.J. Watt, so that's fine. That's fine. In my mind, that is.
All right, so the next one I got up here is Darrell Williams. Where you got Darrell Williams going?
Darrell Williams, I think I could see him with Los Angeles Rams, the other Los Angeles. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Center. I don't even know where I'm going. I'll play notes kind of stuff with him. Yeah.
We're at that part where he's got to. We're at that part where you got to free ball it. Well, Darrell Williams, where do I have him going? He probably should stay in Buffalo. That's a fact. But if he is to leave Buffalo and go to a team that may need an offensive tackle, let's see. The team that I have him going to, I actually have him moving down to a division rival down with, I'm not sure Miami's going to have, because I believe Miami had an opt-out. So I will give him to Miami to shore up their offensive line, help shore up their offensive line for Tua. This way, by signing him, they can take your boy at number 3 overall.
I can take my boy number 3 overall anyway.
Not a penny is on the board. I'm just saying. But Miami does need to shore up the offensive line.
They do. And very similar to the team I was thinking about was.
And what's this team?
A team that if they could address the offensive line needs during free agency, it really frees them up in the draft. Cincinnati Bengals, if they can satisfy all their offensive line needs in free agency, what does that do for them at that number 5 spot? You can go so many directions. You could still go offensive line. You can still get a stool all that far, but then it also frees you up to say, hey, there's a lot of offensive weapons that are available here that could look like Jamar Chase, because Miami's going to take Devontae Smith number 3, and then you have Kyle Pitts even, who could be at that number 5 spot. So I think if Cincinnati addresses the offensive line need in free agency, it frees them up for the draft, where they don't have to worry about where do the quarterbacks fall, where do we put our risk in, whoever we want, who we have number 1 on our board. It would just alleviate a lot of that pressure. But that's just me. That's just my amateur opinion. That's why we're doing this pod. That's why we're not working in a front office anywhere. Okay?
This is true. All right, next we've got Taylor Moton. Where you got Taylor going? Oh, and my bad.
Very
my bad
similar
here.
to Russell.
My bad here. I haven't been introducing these guys. So, Trent Williams currently on the San Francisco 49ers. Russell Okung, as Sean said, currently on the Carolina Panthers. Alejandro Villanueva. I just butchered that name again.
Vanilla Waiver. Alejandro Vanilla Wafer is in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you got Then you got Darrell Williams on Buffalo, and now we're at Taylor Moton, also Carolina Panthers.
I think it's dangerous that we're relying on me to be the credible one here to carry this thing. That's just a dangerous thing.
Hey, I believe in you.
Taylor. He's going to be good for a team that is wanting to run the ball. I think he's a little bit better at punch blocking than he's pass blocking. Carolina is going to be facing a tough off season. I mean, they have their question. So what are they doing at quarterback? What talent are they adding? Like I was trying to mention before, maybe a Hunter Henry coming to town. I haven't even got my notes straight.
Deshaun Watson.
Everett coming to town. Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on, and they're going to be losing, potentially, most of their starting tackle. That's easy for any franchise to go through. But if we're connecting dots, maybe it's that Carolina reunion in Washington. They could use some run blocking on that right side of the line. If it's not Washington, then I think maybe a team like Cincinnati. You're thinking Joe Burrow. You saw the injury he went down with last year. That organization has everything possible to make sure that nothing like that even comes close to happening again. And you got to beef up that offensive line. You got to spend the money on the offensive line to protect your franchise quarterback. Because the dangerous thing is, if we look back at a Washington team that used to be known as the Redskins, when they had a quarterback early in the draft with RG3, Robert Griffin, he suffered that injury his rookie year. Was he the same afterwards?
Yeah, but there are extenuating circumstances to that, I think. Now, that being said,
there are. It's not exactly, it's not parallel, but there's similarities there that you have to protect your quarterback, and him going down season-ending injury in his rookie season. I mean, the organization has to feel terrible for that. We got to do everything we can to really bolt that front line and make sure this doesn't happen. Like, we don't want him. We want him getting like the Aaron Rodgers treatment, as long as he's not going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he's going to stay clean for the majority of the season, stay upright, and you got to spend money on the offensive line. So why not go out there, get one of the better, probably the youngest offensive tackle who's going to be available. I think he's like 27?
27.
He has years left in him.
Now, that being said, I actually agree with you on going with not Washington, but Cincinnati. I think it frees up Cincinnati. This is one of those things because that helps free up Cincinnati to take weapons. Because if Cincinnati can shore up that offensive line and, maybe get Joe Burrow his favorite target from when he was in college, and now also you've got a T. Higgins to grow with, and they can let AJ Green walk and not feel any type of way about that, and you've already gotten Tyler Boyd, who's kind of coming to his own, all of a sudden this offense looks a lot different.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Now, moving on, we're going to go to our guard series. I swear, we've been sloppy, and we're going to do this one so much better. That's probably a lie, but we'll see what we can do for you. All right, so for our guard series, the first one we have up is current Washington football team guard Brandon Sharif. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go first here, and I'm gonna say Brandon Sharif needs to have a change of scenery. I think just like Trent Williams, Washington is he's just worn on him, and I'm gonna have him go. He's been kind of in the cold there in Washington. It's in that area where it gets cold, but it's not too cold. But he's gonna go someplace warm, and he's gonna go to LA, and he's gonna go play for the Chargers because they need offensive line help and they need someone to truly address this. So another young quarterback doesn't die, Mr. Justin Herbert. So that's where I have Brandon Sharif going. I think he'll bring some nastiness, some tenacity to the offensive line, kick some of those other guys in shape, or maybe you just replace those dudes too.
Yeah, he's one of the best guards in football, but I think he's going to re-sign in Washington. I don't think so. I think he had a lot of high expectations by being drafted number 5 that he couldn't live up to those expectations. Now, that's that he did bad. He didn't do well because he did well to play his way into being one of the top guards in football. I just think it was that high draft status that he had a hard time living up to people's expectations. Done well, though. The team I would have chosen for him would have been that warm team as the Los Angeles Chargers. That was who my first pick was going to be. If I can't agree with you, if I have to do something different, I would say Cincinnati. I mean, either way, we're thinking you got to protect the young quarterback. You got to protect Justin Herbert. You got to protect Joe Burrow. Whoever it is, you got to protect one of the young ones.
Now, the next one up is Joe Thuney, currently on the New England Patriots, and New England made sure to keep him in-house last year. They made sure to keep him there. I don't know if they can do it this year. I honestly think that he may be moving on, on. And where does he move on to is the question here. And one team that I would love him because he's athletic to move on to is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, one of them teams needs to address their offensive line. They like to ignore it. I think he'd be another solid addition right there in the desert.
Okay, I can see that. I can see it. He can make a difference over there. He's done well. He's done really well in New England. He's played his way into a huge contract. He deserves a huge contract. I don't think New England now. So I think he is leaving town. It seems like every offensive lineman we talked about, I'm going to say Cincinnati for. So I have Cincinnati here. Bear with me, right? So I know that a lot of. I'm going to link every offensive lineman with Cincinnati, but I do have a second one as well. So I'm not just saying Cincinnati, all of them. But maybe he goes down to sunny Miami, Florida. Little Brian Flores. Someone formerly on that New England Patriots staff. Maybe they have a young quarterback of their own down there who needs protecting. a little Tua. I don't want to pronounce his last name because I'm pretty sure I'm going to mess it up and we're not going to mess up anything in this section. So.
All right, so the next one we got going, we're going to move on to the centers. We grouped the centers and the guards together. And this one, Sean doesn't want to address. He doesn't want to do this technique for this next one because he doesn't want this guy going anywhere. And that would be Corey Lindsey. He is currently the center of the Green Bay Packers. And yeah, Sean, where's Corey going? I'm going to let you go first this time.
Let me go first. Oh, you are just so generous. Just throw it out there. Generosity. The same sadness I had last week when I was talking about Aaron Jones leaving can also be applied to Corey Linsley. Not only is Corey Linsley the center available in free agency, but over the past couple of years, he's been one of the best centers in the league overall. When Green Bay extended David Bakhtiari at the end of the season, for me, it kind of signaled the end for Corey Linsley. They were putting so much money into the left tackle. And I know we just talked about it earlier that he did the restructure, freed up some money. I think for this year, it's just freed up $8 million. Green Bay still $20 million over the cap. They got a lot of room to get just to meet the cap requirements. And it's just going to be unfortunate for Corey Linsley, one of the game's best centers. He's going to be the best center on the market. I could see him going to nice, sunny Miami. It's also where I was thinking Aaron Jones could go to. Maybe a little Miami. And maybe another option I see for free agency for him. And this one, I to say, Seattle. Maybe just,
Seattle would be a very interesting choice for him. I'm going to make a choice that I'm not going to like. And I'm bringing a team that we haven't talked about with any of this type of stuff. And I'm going to say the New York Giants. We haven't addressed the fact that the Giants' offensive line had got better, but still isn't good. And I think their center position is an issue there also. I actually think almost all of their positions are issues. They've got serviceable players, but not great players. If you insert a great player in there, they can do a lot of the things that Jason Garrett really wants to do with running the ball and, trying to get that the offense he likes to do going. Moving on from that, though, our depressing. I decided to get depressing with you. We got him leaving, and I got him going to a team I don't like. So we're gonna move on. We're going to
Misery loves company. Perfect.
David Andrews for the New England Patriots. Let's get back to cheery mode. New England's losing more players. So David Andrews from the New England Patriots. I'm gonna put him. It's one of three teams for me when it comes to this. You got Cincy, you got Arizona, and you've got the Chargers. These are the teams that need it. They need offensive line help. Their offensive lines are not good. There's a reason that their quarterbacks have been running for their lives.
Yeah, so you're thinking David Andrews is coming off a little bit of a down year. He had some injuries in 2020, so let's play for him as well. Whoever gets them is really going to get a good deal, good value on that contract. Not going to command a lot of money. But maybe it's a team like Los Angeles Chargers. We keep talking about protecting your quarterback, surrounding them with that veteran presence to really anchor a line, solidify a line. So maybe it's a team like the Chargers. That'd be a good fit for them.
Maybe, possibly. Now, the last one is another center. I believe I'm probably going to butcher this. It's Austin Reiter. He currently plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I mean, of course, you're probably gonna stay. That's just what it is. But for the purpose of this particular exercise, we got him moving on. And where does he move on to? You let me know who you got him going to, Sean.
Yeah, so one team that comes to mind would be for Steelers. Marquise Pouncey just hired, so it's going to create an opening on that Pittsburgh offensive line. Thinking the quarterback or centered for Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, in the way to a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh wants back in the playoff. We don't know how much time Ben Roethlisberger has left, so why not give him a center who's been to the Super Bowl the past 2 years?
All right, so I'm going to go one outside the box here. I'm going to say Atlanta moves on from Alex Mack, but they place Austin. So you see that, Alex Austin, just saying right there. But they push him in now. They don't have to skip a beat with the center position. They've replaced one with another really good player. So, moving on from those particular one, we're going to go to our draft series. This one is going to be tight end. This time we're only doing a top 4, not a top 5. We both agreed we didn't really want to pull a fifth tight end out the hat. So, going with number 4, Sean, who you got at number 4?
My number 4 is Hunter Long from Boston College. He had a pretty good 2020 season. He showed some good pass catching ability. I think he ended the year with 57 receptions, close to 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6'5", 250. Yeah, size. He can really be a pretty solid tight end in the league. Is he going to start his rookie year? Maybe not his first year in. But give him a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years. I understand that he's a pretty good blocker, so that's what a lot of teams are looking for when it comes to a tight end. You want a receiving threat, but you also want somebody who's capable of run blocking, pass blocking when it's needed. And you can do that.
Okay, so my number 4 guy. Here's the thing. I have to precurse this. My number 4 guy is still going to be a great player, in my opinion. It's just from the tight end spot, he's number 4 for me. And the main reason why he's number 4 for me is this dude ain't blocking the Kleenex. And this would be Brevin Jordan. The dude can catch, he's athletic, but he will get bowled over by, you could probably bowl him over in the pass rush game, Sean. This guy is not a blocker. Yeah. Not even close to a blocker. And I mean, which means you can only use him so much. What's he going to do? Okay, he's in the game. You're not going to have him block anybody one-on-one. He's either chipping or he's going out wide. You're not treating him as an inline guy at all. So next up, then I'm surprised it didn't trigger Sean because I know he's got him much higher than I do. Next up, who is your number 3 guy?
Speaking of triggering people, I think this one might trigger you a little bit. But I have Pat Freiermuth. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, and I do apologize in advance for this one. It's no longer our offensive line section, so we can make messed up mistakes here. So, Pat Freiermuth?
I think it's Freiermuth.
The guy from Penn State, right? You call him Baby Gronk. Baby Gronk. Baby Gronk. The reason I have Baby Gronk here at number 3 instead of higher on my list, that injury, the injury he suffered this year, Coach James Franklin, was pretty vague about the injury he suffered. Now, it's college. Coaches don't have to be very upfront or very detailed about the injuries that their players suffered. Get past their details. is pretty vague about it. I mean, when team doctors do their examinations, they're going to find out everything about this injury, exactly what it is. Just the uncertainty of injury has me bump Baby Gronk to number 3 on my list. Which normally would have been number 2 had he had a help.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. My number 3 is Hunter Long. So I mean, we I think we have all the same guys, just in different orders. Hunter Long. Here's the thing: he's over Brevin Jordan because he can block, and he's got that tight end next to his position. If they had receiver next to their position, Brevin Jordan would be above him. But because they have that tight end next to his position, I have Hunter Long over Brevin Jordan just because you can do more with him. You can scheme differently. You know, you don't have, when he's in the game, the defense isn't going to know, okay, this is exactly what's coming. Because with Brevin Jordan, you know exactly what's coming. That being said, you go ahead and tell him you're number 2 guy.
My number 2 guy was that fellow they greatly disrespected a few minutes ago by putting it number 4 on your list. My number 2 guy is Brevin Jordan, tight end from Miami, Florida. So he played pretty well for Miami in 2020. Made some big plays. I just had his stats pulled up. Grab those back. Not prepared here.
We need a producer.
I think over 8 games, he had 38 catches. He was close to 600 yards. He had 7 touchdowns. There's a lot to like about Brevin. Can he block a Kleenex? No. Can he block me? No. But if I'm a general manager, I'm not drafting him for his blocking ability. I'm drafting him for what he can do in the passing game, right? He doesn't have to sit there and engage the defender in an entire block, but maybe just a little bump, maybe a little bump here, bump there.
A chip.
Defender off their track. Exactly. It's a little nudge to ruin
Let's
their
hope he doesn't get
there,
Let's hope he doesn't get knocked off his route.
Hopefully not. 6'4", 245. Could you put him out wide in the slot like a big slot receiver? Yep, might be able to do that. I think there's some fun ways that they can play. But I know his blocking is to be one of the things that people are looking at. Block at the next level, but if I'm a GM, I'm not drafting him for his blocking ability. If he can block at some point in the game, great. I want him for his pass catch.
Okay, so moving on to my number 2 guy, who can catch passes and can block, Mr. Pratt Fryermuth. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this way. Yeah, I'm taking shots right now. I'm not a doctor. Neither are you. So, with that said, till a doctor tells me...
I got my medical degree from Facebook.
Till a doctor tells me that this kid's injury has affected him that way, he's still going to be my number 2 guy. You know, I'm not going to spend... if I was a team, yeah, I got to speculate, but my team doctors would evaluate. So, you know, with that said, he's still the number 2 guy. He's still going to be a late first, early second round pick. He is literally the complete actual tight end package. If you want a true tight end in this draft, this is the guy. You know, he can go downfield, he can catch, he can block, he can do all sorts of stuff for you, and not be a liability. Now that being said, everybody already knows we're agreeing on the number 1 guy. The number 1 guy isn't much of a blocker either. He can, but he's not much of it. But I don't care. This is the one, like Brevin Jordan. It's just, there's certain things with him. This guy, Kyle Pitts, I don't care. I don't care because he's just so much better than the other guy on the field. That would be a linebacker or a safety cover him. He's going to bully a safety. He's going to out-athlete a linebacker. This guy's nuts. I mean, we saw what happened to Kyle Trask. You take this dude off the field. Come on, you can go ahead, gush on my man. You know you got some nice thoughts about him. You have number 2 with the wide receivers.
Number 3. All right, at number 3, I gave some respect to Jamar Chase there. Okay, number 3. But yeah, if you remember last week, I had to throw him into my wide receiver ring because he's more than just a tight end. His size and his usage in college was at that tight end position.
But he's not a complete liability.
He's going to be an offensive.
He's not a complete liability in the block.
He's that nightmare. No, he's a big guy. He can move people, absolutely. But if I have him on the field, I don't want him out there blocking. I want him out there playing that Jimmy Graham role, that big spot. Move him off to the side. Get separation, get him one-on-one with the defender. Now, is his safety going to be big enough to take him down? The linebacker fast enough to keep up with him? You have a lot of flexibility there and make him a really dangerous player on the field. No doubt he's going to be the first tight end off the board. I think I'd bet your life savings on that. He's going to be the first tight end off the board.
No, I know he's going to be the first tight end off the board. And what I mean more so by in terms of line, with him, let's compare him to Brevin Jordan, which we shouldn't because it's not a comparison. But in the running game, I can see Jordan getting bowled over in the running game and that taking negative yards. Where Kyle Pitts, I can see him holding his own, and that's still netting positive yards. So that way, when you're on the field, you don't know if it's a run or a pass. If Brevin is in the game, and he's there in line, that's a pass. Guaranteed that's a pass. There's no way they're letting that dude block.
Maybe that's how they fool you. Huh? Think about that.
Run the other way.
But then it comes down to the responsibility of the coaching staff of whatever team drafts them. That they're going to come into the league. All of these players, they come into the league with certain levels of talent, certain level of skill. It's just how they were utilized in college, what they were asked to do in college, and even before that, what were they asked to do in high school? What do they need to do? But that's the responsibility of the coaching staff is to get their players up to par with everything that they need to do. So if you need Brevin Jordan to block a little bit more, that's my coaching staff. You gotta have a good coaching staff around him, but I think that's gonna be important for all rookies that get drafted. It's not just their skill and their ability. It's what team are they going to? How well is that team gonna coach them up to where they need to be at the pro level?
All right, now finally we're getting, so that's all the segments we really have for today, but finally we want to touch base on one or two things here. First, we want to bring up Martin Schottenheimer. Recently died. Rest in peace to Marty Schottenheimer there. Marty Ball, people still do it, still alive and well in this passing league. Marty Ball's still going. Marty Ball almost helped me win a fantasy football championship. But I want to touch base on Marty Schottenheimer because I think he's one of the most disrespected coaches that's ever coached in the league because he's been so great. And he was snake bit. He was snake bit. But every place he went, he took bad teams and made them good. And that's crazy to me. Every single stop he went to a team that was not doing well. Let it be Cleveland, let it be KC, let it be San Diego at the time. But, he took teams and turned them around. His last stint, I'm going to say this to that GM, AJ, you made me mad. So how do you go 13-3 and then get fired the next year? That makes no sense. Makes no sense. Marty Schottenheimer, honestly, I mean, I'd say a push for a Hall of Fame coach, considering the impact of what he did for those teams, bringing them out the gutter and making them contenders, making household names of people. You know, Antonio Gates, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. I know Phillip was a first round pick, but I mean, you know, and then like you hear about players who have coached, who have played for him. They loved him. So I just wanted to do a little rant about Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I mean, he made a huge difference for players. He was always a coach that the players were looking up to, that they respected him. And I think even since passing, a couple of players so now he's the best coach I've played for. And that's the kind of man he was. He was a great leader of men. He did great during the regular season. He just had bad luck when it came to the postseason.
Snake bit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, the drive, if that turns out differently, the fumble, if that turns out differently, you know, how different would his would have looked? But what a
or even worse,
Marty Schottenheimer.
Or even worse, that last one, the interception of Tom Brady that gets dropped, gets fumbled, and the Patriots get the ball back because that interception would have ended the game. Wackiness.
Well, throw him the good. He turned teams around. He was a leader of men. Marty Ball is going to live on forever because some team somewhere is going to have that smash mouth running offense with a solid defense on the opposite side. It's going to live on. Marty's not going to be forgotten.
They just won't have LaDainian Tomlinson.
Or Antonio Gates, yeah.
Now, all that being said, let's pay tribute to another guy who played for the once then San Diego Chargers, Mr. Vincent Jackson, also passed. I believe it was over the weekend there. And fantastic player to watch. Awesome if you had him on your fantasy team. I'm not going to speculate on what happened or anything like that, but you know, rest in peace to him also.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, thoughts and prayers go out to his family and his loved ones, just like Marty Schottenheimer. I know Vincent Jackson was a good player. When he ended his career with Tampa Bay, I think it was 4 straight years that he was the team's man of the year. And a lot of that was due to his work in the community with his help with military families. So he wasn't just a good player, but he was also doing good things off the field too. So it's one of those examples where he made a difference on the field, but just as equally, if not more, he made a difference off the field. And I hope those are the things that he's remembered for.
All right. All this being said, we get all emotional and stuff now. We're about to end the pod here. We're going to be back next week, continuing our draft series. We'll have some, continue our free agent series. We're going to go to the defensive side of the ball. You know, start hitting folks. You know, not literally. We don't condone hitting people. You know, that's not what we're saying. But till then, Sean, got any words of wisdom for the people?
You know, as always, wash your fruits and vegetables.
Always solid advice for there. Check those expiration labels. You never know.